In my last video, I talked about how America is being hijacked, and I focused on the border, but it goes a lot further than that. Lately, I'm sure we've all heard the term the Great Replacement Theory echoing through the media corridors. Often, it's swiftly labeled as a right-wing conspiracy theory, but much like they've done with Trump, the left has been projecting its own agenda onto these narratives, portraying them as the fantasies of crazy racists and nutjobs. In this video, I'll go further into how America is being hijacked, and I'll cover something Vivek Ramaswamy said at the 4th GOP primary debate, where he dared to challenge the narrative that the Great Replacement Theory is exclusively a right-wing concoction. It is typically portrayed as such, like in this article by Axios, which nefariously changed the term to White Replacement Theory, and Wikipedia describes it as a white nationalist far-right conspiracy theory. But is there more to the story? Let's turn to Vivek Ramaswamy's revelations at the GOP primary debate on December 6th. He turned heads when he challenged the mainstream narrative around the Great Replacement Theory.
Why am I the only person on this stage, at least, who can say that January 6th now does look like it was an inside job? That the government lied to us for 20 years about Saudi Arabia's involvement in 9/11? That the Great Replacement Theory is not some grand right-wing conspiracy theory, but a basic statement of the Democratic Party's platform?
Vivek faced swift backlash for his remarks. Van Jones, a prominent figure in the Democratic Party, went so far as to call him an American demagogue in the making, accusing him of practically speaking Nazi propaganda.
And the smug, condescending way that he just spews this poison out is very, very dangerous, because he won't stop Trump, but he's going to outlive Trump by about 50 years. And you're watching the rise of an American demagogue that is a very, very despicable person. Yeah. And I was shaking listening to him talk, because a lot of people don't know that is one step away from Nazi propaganda coming out of his mouth.
Megyn Kelly and Greenwald also weighed in on the debate. Let's hear what they had to say about the theory and about Van Jones' reaction to Vivek addressing it.
So when he's dropping the N-word on Vivek in that moment, the other N-word, it was in response to Vivek, this, I listed the things that Vivek said, like January 6th was an inside job and this. And the one thing he said in there that I will give him is the Great Replacement Theory is a Democrat thing. It's not a Republican thing. He's 100% right about that, but the Democrats will never admit that. They want to say Tucker's a racist, and I'm sure Vivek's a racist. Vivek's a Nazi. And Dana Bash asked Vivek about that after the debate. Take a listen in SOT 16.
When people hear Great Replacement
as a racist
Theory,
or conspiracy theorist,
it's a dog whistle.
who are crystal clear. I'm the kid of immigrants. But when the Democratic Party and Biden, the leader of the Democratic Party now, as recently as 10 years ago with Mayorkas sitting at his side, expressly talking about non-white populations exceeding white populations, that being a good thing, and immigration policies they've advanced to achieve that result, remain in Mexico, which they're not enforcing. Let's have that debate rather than saying this is a dog whistle, this is going to cause violence. A lot of it grounded in truth. To be able to have that debate without labeling somebody
ask you one question,
a
and
xenophobe or a racist
I'm going to let you go.
or a denier or anything else.
Let's just say, and I'm not going to use the term anymore, because it is a dog whistle for people out there who are looking for reasons to go after people of color and Jews. But let's just assume that was something that was happening. Is that so wrong? What's wrong with people
first of all,
of color?
let me just pause right there.
Being a majority in this
Let me
country.
just pause right there. This is a legitimate discussion for us to have. And my view is I don't care about skin color. I could care less for skin color.
Just
Do you
go
share the
back to
ideals of this
Charlottesville.
country?
The Jews.
Wow. What did you make of that?
It's such a microcosm. I mean, it's a perfect clip to pick, because first of all, it really drives me insane, Megyn, and it has for quite a long time now. This idea that the Great Replacement Theory is something that white supremacists like Tucker Carlson say to provoke mass murders, like they tried to blame him for in Buffalo, even though the guy left a gigantic manifesto about all the people who influenced him. And not only didn't he ever mention Tucker or anyone on Fox, there's no indication he even knew Fox News or had ever watched it, but they don't care about that. The Great Replacement Theory is 1000% a Democratic Party idea. There are Democratic Party operatives, mainstream ones, who wrote books saying that the key to an enduring permanent Democratic Party majority is ensuring that we have so much immigration that it changes the demographic composition of our country, and these newly arrived immigrants will forever be Democrats, and there'll be no way for us to lose elections because of these demographic shifts. So the Democrats can say that that's their plan, but then you can't point it out that that's their plan. That is insane. But I also think that there are legitimate debates about things like immigration and what the effects are that people like Dana Bash and CNN and the whole liberal commentariat have tried to say is off limits, and they just scream racist and they yell at you that you're provoking violence. And that was a perfect microcosm right there of the fact that huge numbers of people, as we know, Democratic governors and Democratic Party mayors, the minute large numbers of immigrants started showing up on their door, illegal ones, they started screaming bloody murder and calling for the Biden Justice Department to do more to secure the border. But there's this idea that if you're in a neighborhood like where Dana Bash lives or people like her live and you're all ensconced and you don't have the kind of immigrants in your neighborhood that many other people do, then you can call everyone racist for caring about it because it doesn't affect you. And that is the breach between, I think, elite culture and ordinary Americans that has become so destabilizing.
Yeah, couldn't agree more.
It's clear that the Great Replacement theory is stirring up significant controversy. Critics of the Great Replacement theory often argue that it's a nod to white supremacy, associated with xenophobic and racist ideologies. But what if we take a step back and examine another perspective, one which suggests a different motivation behind the theory? Let's listen to a clip from Rolynn's Review's Livestream. She delves into how the Great Replacement is affecting Black Americans in cities like Chicago, and highlights the dangers that extend beyond racial lines.
So as a result of this, the open borders, that means less resources for poor communities who already don't have many resources. So, you're talking about poor, impoverished areas and communities, of all Americans. We're not just talking, we're talking Blacks, Hispanics, white, Asians who may be struggling. Why can't they get these resources? We've been saying this is all being done for votes. They're trying to make it even in Washington where non-citizens can vote in local elections. Now, there's so many red flags with that. That's definitely not right. And we know this is going to have a negative effect on those poor, impoverished communities as it is. Okay. So again, take all this money that you're giving away and help some of your poor American citizens. The Republicans may offer better results. That's what some of the Chicagoans are saying. They're willing to try and see if they can get better results with the Republicans. And they're at wit's end. Okay. So closed borders, folks, for those that aren't sure or don't know, that means impoverished communities are better because they have more jobs. Because what are they going to do with people who are coming from countries? $7.25 an hour is a lot of money for them, where Americans are like, well, that's not enough for me to, take care of my family. So, and I've seen in some videos and I've done some reading where they're saying that the illegal immigrants, of course, they're being placed in the communities of color. They're being put there to replace those communities of color because they will work for lower wages.
The danger here is not confined to one particular group. It's a concern for all Americans, and it's time we acknowledge the broader implications of the Great Replacement. The term replacement theory is indeed loaded, and critics argue that it's a scare tactic used to advance a political agenda. But we have to address a sobering reality. The open borders and immigration policies have consequences. This isn't about being racist, it's about preserving the values that make America what it is. Whether you agree or disagree, it's important to engage in open and honest discussion without fear of being labeled. Our values as Americans are at stake, and by understanding motivations behind theories like the Great Replacement, we can foster meaningful dialogue and hopefully find some common ground. Let's bridge the gaps, challenge the narrative, and strive for a more united future. Thanks for joining the conversation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and take care.